Hello, I'm Amy Zaley with the Jerusalem Connection Red Alert Report for March 20. Updates from around the world, Part 1. I say Part 1 because we have two parts. It's a long report. Wonder why today's college students are so susceptible to anti-Semitism, thinking that they are perhaps only criticizing Israeli policies and or maybe just being anti-Zionist, as if that's less offensive. Well, this generation claims to be one of inclusion and diversity, but they demonstrate to the contrary. And it all starts when they're much younger. For example, in a middle school in Georgia just last month on Multicultural Night, sponsored by the Social Studies Department, a map was displayed of the Middle East, and in the borders of what is the modern state of Israel is the word was labeling the area Palestine, and no mention of Israel on the map at all. Now, I can remember my days in social studies and history classes in college and in high school and middle school, and this was in the late 80s and very early 90s. Borders were constantly changing at that point and nations were being renamed. I remember in 1991, in a college course, I was given a quiz with a blank map of the Balkans and Eastern Europe, all of which had their boundaries changed and their nations renamed as they were certified, reorganizing, and finding independence. Now, in this quiz, I was only allowed to use the modern, legal, accepted, and certified names of these newly drawn boundaries and regions. So, for example, if I stuck USSR on one part and Yugoslavia on another, those would have been marked wrong because they were incorrect. So in an age of academic honesty and integrity, regardless of what we feel about the names of regions, how they got there, or if they're in dispute, at that point and today, we should be teaching our children what the reality of these regions are in the day and age of the time. And of course, further discussions can occur during essays and class time and lectures. My point is that this school was alerted to the map during the event by offended Jewish and Israeli parents, and nobody removed it. No teacher went and said, "Oh, we cannot have an inaccurate map on display," let alone to mention that the map was clearly political in nature and harmful and offensive. Jewish and Israeli parents at the school did get an apology later on, but nobody was actually held responsible and nobody was in a hurry to take the map down. When I was teaching in the classroom, I used to take down signs and memos that even had the smallest grammar error on them because it was not correct and good for our students to see errors posted on the wall. But not only did this particular map illustrate the Palestinian Authority and terror mantra phrase of "from Jordan to the sea, Palestine will be free," thus removing all Jewishness and Jewish history from the area, this map was left there throughout the evening with an apologize later and everybody forget about it attitude. In an age where even a Mary Poppins chimney sweep scene was ridiculed by some as being offensive for blackface, even though it had no connection or context to what really is offensive about blackface, and in an age where Dr. Seuss books are being scrutinized for bigotry, which I haven't figured out yet, how could this map go unnoticed and unaddressed by a public school administration, a place where truth and facts should prevail? It's just alarming. Kids remember images. They remember what they see, even subconsciously. And now let's keep in mind our trio of lovelies in the U.S. Congress, Rashida Tlaib, AOC, and Ilhan Omar. Kamala Harris, of course, is a step right behind them, and Nancy Pelosi is trying to manage it all. Each of these three women have been seen and associated with the river to sea mantra, including a video of AOC at a BDS rally in New York and chanting and clapping to it. And then she later claimed that she didn't understand the gravity of the statement. We are told Omar's continued anti-Semitic rants and ravings are because she is too ignorant, or let's say dumb, and comes from a different point of view to know what she's actually saying and that it is offensive and divisive. She's 39 years old. She has a 16-year-old kid. If she's too ignorant, she shouldn't be on the Foreign Affairs Committee. If she's too evil, she shouldn't be on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Dumb or evil, the result is she shouldn't be on the Foreign Affairs Committee. And there are examples of other incidences for her sisters in arms as well. Now, Omar's mantra is that Israel is on the land that is the natural homeland of the Palestinians. And by repeating this chant, she cannot say that she is simply anti-Israel. She is trying to erase the true history of the land and the Jewish presence there. And this is a core piece of the BDS movement, the boycott, divest, and sanction policy and movement to remove Israel from the face of the map economically and as part of a player on the world stage. BDS is undercurrent and the base of anti-Semitism that underlies this movement and is accepted by the people who are visceral in their attacks not only on this one little bastion of human rights in the Middle East, but to say that Jews were never there, then it can be perceived, even subconsciously, that they are today then invaders. If you say Jews were never there, you erase them. And erasing people makes it easier to eliminate people. Moreover, keep in mind that worldwide, based on the majority of inhabitants of a nation, which will reveal an identity of the nation, a personality, and a culture, and even its government workings, 52 nations on this planet have Islamic majorities. 49 have Roman Catholic majorities. 20 have Protestant majorities. 12 have the Orthodox Christian majorities, and 4 have Hindu majorities. Only one nation on the face of the earth has a Jewish majority and therefore a Jewish identity and a Jewish presence and culture as its government and its everyday life. We need to consistently realize that this is not a humanitarian effort only that we have here at the Jerusalem Connection Report, but also other Zionist organizations, that we need to recognize the Jewish people and the modern state of Israel for not only who they are today, but who they are historically. This is also a spiritual battle that we are repeating in history over and over again, and no amount of modernization, progressive movements, communication and technology advancements, none of this seems to fix the problem that there is a bullseye on God's people, God's chosen people. And we as Christians need to stand in solidarity with these people because we owe our faith in God to Abraham's offspring who had conveyed his message. And it is our duty as Christians to expose lies, bigotry, and targeting and lying about any group of people being unfairly persecuted, especially when this persecution seems to be widely accepted by the international community, including governments, cultural organizations, financial hubs, and learning institutions. I report each week on progress that is made in these areas. Pockets of people and groups in government bodies, financial institutions, educational institutions, and within cultural and entertainment venues. But the tide is strong and it is an upstream swim. Prayers are needed. Shavua Tov and have a great week.